What's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to the Live Credit Show. I'm your host, Casacello James. Welcome this Tuesday night, the 1st of September. You made it to September. After all, it's going to be an exciting month. Welcome to everyone that's joining me right now. What's going on, Sheila? Glad to have you on tonight. Welcome back. Welcome back. I got my brother in here. Get it here. Get it here. Get it here. That's an inside joke. Thank you, David Wade. Thank you for joining me. Miss Powell is here. Miss Dolores Powell. Doris Powell. Yes. Welcome. 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 What's going on? What's going on, Ebony? All right. Let's do it. Let's do it. All right. Mr. Tyrone Banks. Thank you so much. All right, let me see what Bruce said. That's nice. All right, I appreciate that. You know, I have to give them a little fashion every now and then, do a little something on tonight. I appreciate that. David Wade is doing excellent. I'm going to actually have David Wade, this young man. He is very, very a good brother, good confidant, somebody that you need on your team. And so I'm actually going to have him on the show again, actually, so he can tell his story and about his credit journey. All right. So welcome so much. Thank you so much, everybody that's joining me. All right. Towson, thank you. All right. All right. What's going on, Maria? What's going on? Shasta's in the house. All right, Miss Wright. I know you was going to be here. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me on tonight. It is going to be amazing because I have a very, very important topic that we must go over. But before I do that, let me thank everybody again for joining me on the Live Credit Show on tonight. This is where personal or business credit, we can try to come up with the answer. You're always, when you go to the hospital, some people call me the credit doctor. So when you go to the hospital, they give you the diagnosis, and then after a while you get the prognosis. All right. And so that's when you're in recovery and all of that, and everything is going to be all right. So if you would like to sponsor this particular credit live show, the Live Credit Show, you certainly can do that. All you have to do is contact me, and we would definitely put your business on whatever you have going on. You can contact me at this particular number, which is 786-213-1087. You can email me if you would like. You can email me at ecrepairnow@gmail.com. That's my business email. So it's ecrepairnow@gmail.com. And of course, the number is 786-213-1087. Even if you need consulting, whatever your needs are, just feel free to reach out. Now, if you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do that before you leave the show on tonight. Simply go to YouTube and type in Exceptional Credit Repair LLC. It's not hard. Just type it in, Exceptional Credit Repair LLC. So thank you so much for joining me. Thank you live on Instagram. All right, Taylor, what's going on, my friend? Thank you so much for your support. I saw you like one of the, I think the videos or pictures. So thank you so much, my friend, on Instagram. And we're live on Facebook and live on YouTube. All right. So it's going to be very informative, good information tonight. But I got to be daddy credit tonight. I got to be daddy credit. So I got to whoop a little bit tonight. And I got to correct some things tonight so you would have the full knowledge. Now, this is my particular opinion. It's my particular perspective out of 22 years as far as a credit analyst and a credit expert. So this is based on my experience. This is a real life company. The name of my company, again, is Exceptional Credit Repair LLC. There's a lot of things that I've been seeing. I want to dive right in. Our topic tonight is, do you really need bankruptcy? All right. So that's what I'm going to be asking that question a lot tonight. And I'm not going to be long, but I want to drive that home tonight. Do you really need bankruptcy? Do you really need bankruptcy? Do you understand what it really means? And do you understand the nature of what you are signing and getting into? All right. bankruptcy. And let me start by saying this. I'm not against any bankruptcy lawyers. So if you're a lawyer or if you're in legal aspect, because I'm studying paralegal as well. So I understand that demographic. So at the end of the day, this is not a shot or an attack on people that do bankruptcy law, because there's a lot of people that do it. But the reason why I felt compelled to do that, because a question came up very strongly this week, and I've done shows about bankruptcy. Plus, it's in my book on Amazon.com, Teach Me How to Fix My Credit. But I want to let you know that bankruptcy is not a get all my problems away and get rid of all of my debt type of situation. It doesn't just magically, just wipe out everything and get you out of trouble. Bankruptcy is something that you need to understand the whole full scope, the totality of what you're getting ready to get in. Because as I'm going to show you on tonight, I'm going to give you some more insight and give you some helpful hints so you can make a very informative and intelligent, decision. Because bankruptcy is not for everybody. It's for somebody, but not for everybody. And some people, had they known about bankruptcy, I'm telling you, I see Miss Powell piggybacking already. Thank you, Miss Powell. She says, please, no bankruptcy. I'm telling you, you need to know, because the lawyer is glad to get that money, just like any businessman or any businesswoman. But prayerfully, you have went to somebody that gave you the choice, because it's your choice to walk in the building and, connect with that law firm or whoever the attorney is. But you need to understand the totality, like I said, of what the bankruptcy is. All right. So I'm going to be talking about two. I'm not going to cover chapter 12 and all of them, but I'm going to talk about the two most common ones, which is chapter 7 and chapter 13. Now, if you have any questions, good stuff. Okay. Thank you, my friend. All right, Taylor. So at the end of the day, if you have any questions, please put it on the screen. I'm going to try to answer any questions that you have tonight. I have studied this particular topic, especially 7 and 13, for years. All right. But I want to read you some of my notes and some of the things in my studies over the years, over 2 decades, about bankruptcy. Now, I'm not per se, this is a live credit show. I'm not your attorney. I'm just giving you some more insight and some more informative information so you can make the decision. All right. As Big Money Grip said to Lamont on Fred Sanford, he said, you can decide which one. Do you want Fred or do you want me? All right. So at the end of the day, that's for the Sanford and Sons lovers, back in the day. So at the end of the day, you want to understand the difference between the two. They have some similarities, but there is a difference. So let's start with chapter 7. I want to read this to you, and then we're going to go a little bit further. It says most bankruptcies are filed under either chapter 7 or 13. If you're not familiar with how they both work and how they are both utilized, then with chapter 13 or chapter 7, you can choose the right one when you have all the facts. So even if you're not familiar with chapter 7 or chapter 13, once you get the education on both of them, and we're going to go over that tonight, then you can choose which one is more beneficial to you and your family. So let's start with chapter 7. Chapter 7 is a liquidation bankruptcy that wipes out not just all the debt, that wipes out most of your general unsecured debt, such as credit cards, medical bills, without the need to pay back the balance through a repayment plan. All right. To qualify for chapter 7, you must meet the income requirements. I'm going to read that again. Chapter 7 is a liquidation. That means they're going to take all of your assets. They're going to take everything in account, everything that's on your credit report, all the stuff that you're trying to hide to put in your mama name. And I'm going to talk about that as well. But they're going to take all your assets and liquidate that. All right. And it says they're going to liquidate the bankruptcy that wipes out most of the general unsecured debt, such as credit cards, medical bills, without the need to pay back the balance through a repayment plan. You must meet the income requirement. So this does have an income requirement. So if you do, let's put it like this. If you have the money, I'm telling you, you're wasting your time. If you have the money to pay off the debts that you have, and you just feel like it's a get out of jail free card, that the judge is just going to look at it, laugh at it. It's going to go through a trustee. The trustee is going to be governed over your account with the attorney, and they're going to deem that this is okay. This is something that he can't afford or she can't afford. So we're going to permit this. And I'm going to talk a little bit later about that, the stuff that are eligible to be put under the bankruptcy and stuff that's not eligible to be put under the bankruptcy. All right. So they're going to liquidate all your assets, and then you must, okay, it says you must meet the income requirement. So you got to be very careful. If you're making $150,000 and you're just trying to get rid of 5,000 or 10,000, they're going to laugh that out. If you're just trying to get rid of 20,000, they're going to laugh that out of court. All right. So chapter 7, they liquidate that type of bankruptcy that wipes out most of the general unsecured. So what is unsecured? Those are all the credit cards. So if you apply for American Express and they give you $50,000 and you didn't, that's not a secured card. A secured card is when you have to come up with the money, but an unsecured credit card is when they give you a line of credit. All right, everybody with me? That's when they give you a line of credit. So at the end of the day, you know, it's going to be one of those things that you're going to really, really be instrumental in when you get ready to do your bankruptcy. All right. So at the end of the day, for me, you have so much going on when you're trying to secure that particular debt. All right. You got a lot going on when you're trying to secure the debt. So chapter 13, watch this, the difference between 7 and 13. Chapter 13 is a reorganizing of the bankruptcy designed for debtors, of which that's what they're going to list you as in the court records, the debtor with the regular income who have enough left over after each month to pay back the debt. All right. So it's a portion that you will have to pay back if you meet certain income requirements. So this one is more geared to people that do not make a whole lot of money. Chapter 13. So if you're not making 150,000 and you're not making 60,000 or you're not making 250,000, then this is going to be a little bit more feasible for you. Chapter 7 is more geared to people that are making a whole lot more money. Now, even if you're making 60 or 70,000, then you still might be eligible under certain type of guidelines with the chapter 13. So you might want to check it out. All right. So the difference between 7 and 13, they have some income requirements. And of course, they have different procedures. So I'm going to read that again. It said chapter 13 is a reorganizing of the bankruptcy designed for debtors with regular income who have enough left over each month to pay back the debt. So that means the trustee and the person that is going to be handling the bankruptcy is going to evaluate, okay, do we need to wipe all of this debt out? Is this going to be the portion that he or she is able to pay back? All right. So this is the chapter 13 is the most common one that you have to pay back minimum. There's a minimum portion that you're going to have to pay back. All right. So at the end of the day, when you're getting ready to do a chapter 7, it's more geared to the income. Chapter 13 is more geared to people that have minimum income. All right. So you want to be very careful when it comes down to people such as, that have, they're struggling or they're going through a hardship, whether you're going through a divorce or whether you're going through something, that happened out of the blue. It could be medical. It could be one of those things that, hey, that some people, they find themselves without a job. It could be, especially with the COVID-19. And the major thing for me is you don't want to panic. You don't want to panic when you're going through situations and feel just like bankruptcy is going to eliminate the debt. You do have to go through the court procedures, and there's a lot of things that you can do before you file bankruptcy. So that's what I want to gear that direction on tonight. There's a lot of things that you can do before you actually file bankruptcy. All right. So chapter 7 is actually geared to the income-based people, and chapter 13 is going to be based on your income, but it's based on people that have minimum income. All right. Now, I'm going to take a quick commercial and I'm going to be right back. I want you to really get your pens and paper out because we want to talk about, do you really need bankruptcy. I'll be right back. What's up, everybody? I'm back. We're talking about, do you really need bankruptcy? All right, this show is the live credit show. If this show is not for you, you need to kick rocks and keep on moving. All right. So at the end of the day, it's all about when you're trying to make an informed decision about bankruptcy. All right. So when you're dealing with a Chapter 13, it's going to be more of an income-based type of situation. Now, there are some differences, of course, between the two. Now, Chapter 7, the individual, it can be Chapter 7, it could be a business or individual. But Chapter 13 is more geared to the individuals, like sole proprietorship or the individual. So that's a big difference there. So Chapter 7 is most common, for people that are in business and the individual. All right. So, and then you also want to check with the attorneys, that you're going to be dealing with. Don't be afraid to ask them questions. All right. Now, the other thing that I want to talk about, the disposable income must be low enough to pass Chapter 7, meaning that particular income has to be significant enough. They do have caps on 7 and 13. All right. So even if you're doing a Chapter 13 and it means minimum income, you don't want to have a big debt if you get that much. You don't want to have a debt of $450,000, yada, yada, yada. All right. So at the end of the day, I said, no, I'm just going with credit. Okay. At the end of the day, you want to make sure Chapter 7 or Chapter 13, one of them is going to be beneficial to you. Now, here's what I've heard many people say. Well, I'm going to file bankruptcy because I don't see any way out. That's the time you must calm down. You don't want to panic and you don't want to freak out. You want to be able to make an informed decision, meaning sometimes it is necessary to negotiate with the creditors. Yes, a lot of the credit card companies, if you can't pay them and you keep letting those late payments pile up, they're going to close the accounts. Yes, they're going to want to close the accounts if you do debt consolidation. Debt consolidation is another avenue that some people do take. That means, they're going to negotiate with the creditors on your behalf, but that's something that you can simply do on your own as well. So at the end of the day, bankruptcy does cost. And so a lot of times it can range. Even today, I was talking with some attorneys. It can start all the way from $1,300 all the way up to $6,000 or $7,000, depending on the debt that you've accumulated, depending on which chapter, whether it's 7, 13, 12, 11, whatever the case may be. So you want to make sure that you get the right information. Make sure you talk to the attorney that will be handling your bankruptcy. All right. Also, Chapter 7, typically it is 3 to 4 months, all right, before it can be discharged. I've seen bankruptcies be discharged between 3 and 4 months, sometimes 6 months, all right. Now, the difference between Chapter 13 is upon completion of all the payment plans, then normally they like to try to dismiss that particular case. Remind you that all of this is going to be handled through the court proceedings as well. So you got to make sure that you're going to be in it to win it, and make sure that that attorney explains to you the procedure. And I'm going somewhere with all of this. All right. Now, what is the time frame? Most people say, can it stay up to 10 years? Yes. Can it stay up to 2 years? Yes. It's depending on when you decide that you want to try to finagle it or try to get it off your credit report. Most of my customers, they've had it on their credit report for a long period of time. So once it's been discharged, you have a really good chance of getting it off, but it doesn't mean that it's just going to fall off. Now, the place that it's going to be is on your public record. Here's where I want to go tonight, because I'm not going to be long. It's going to be on your public record on your credit report. But what you need to understand is, even if you have other negative items on your credit report, your score did drop at some point because, watch this, your score did drop at some point because the bankruptcy is still considered negative. Most people think that bankruptcy is a positive thing. Yes, it looks positive when you're seeing some light at the end of the tunnel. Now, some people need it, as I said earlier in the show, but for the most part, the system, when you're getting ready to calculate, whether it's FICO, whether it's the Vantage system, the system calculates that, and it still deems that as negative because it literally means this: at some point, some hardship or some type of debacle, some type of devastation has happened to you where you got overwhelmed or something happened, you couldn't pay your bills. So bankruptcy, I don't want you to look at it like, okay, well, my life is just going to go on. Some people have really been devastated trying to come back. It's one thing when you couldn't pay your bills and you had 3 cars or you had 2 cars. And let me say this, sometimes it was better to even let the cards go, because once you let those cards go, or if you say, well, I turned it in, or versus them coming to pick it up, it's either repossession or voluntarily you turned it in. And that's much better than them coming to get it, because it'll be listed that way on the credit report. But what happens is, if those 2 major cars are on your credit report before you decide to do bankruptcy, what is going to happen is you turn the car in, they come and get it. This is the procedure. So you might as well make a very informed decision. They're going to come and get the cars. They'll turn around and sell it at the auction. So if your debt was $10,000 on one car and $10,000 on the other car, then they'll sell it at the auction. Hopefully they can get the whole 10. That normally doesn't happen. But if they get 6 or 7 or even 5,000, then they will hold you responsible, which I don't like that rule in law. They'll hold you responsible for the other remaining debt. So at the end of the day, and some of the creditors will work with you, some of the creditors will not come back, against you, but it's a way to wipe out that debt. Now, if they're willing, which is called debt forgiveness, if they're willing to wipe out that debt, this is some good stuff. If they're willing to wipe out that debt, you don't know until you try. You don't know until you send those dispute letters in. This is where the dispute process is going to come into play. So therefore, do you really need bankruptcy? So if you're having a repossession and you say, well, I got 2 cars and I got a bunch of credit cards, I got 5 credit cards, I got 2 cars, and then I got some student loans, then it doesn't mean that you need, bankruptcy. It could mean that you need debt consolidation. It could mean that you need to negotiate. Let them know that you're going through hard times. Put it in writing. As I always say, you must put it in writing. All right. Let's see. We got a question. Okay. So at the end of the day, welcome on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. So at the end of the day, yes, it is still going to be problematic. That bankruptcy, most people feel because it's been discharged or dismissed. It's going to say discharge or dismiss. Welcome, Lisa. Welcome. Most people are gonna actually watch this. Most people are gonna really be sidetracked, because what's happening is when they get ready to do their particular bankruptcy, they feel like, hey, well, everything is gonna be all right if I just get everything zeroed out. And then by the time you look at your credit report, you still are gonna have to rebuild, even if you do it on your own. But if you file bankruptcy, I'm telling you, your score is still gonna drop. I've had this conversation over and over again. I had a person that called me and thought it was just the inquiries or some of the other accounts. And that might be a contributing factor. But one of the major hiccups for those persons' credit report is going to be that public record. If that public record doesn't say 0, it is still going to be problematic. All right. So the difference between chapter 7 and chapter 13, chapter 7 is income based. They're going to look at how much you make. most of the lawyers and most of the people that I've talked to in decades, I'm telling you, they're gonna side with chapter 13. I see most of my clients, either they have chapter 7 or chapter 13, but most of them have chapter 13. All right. So at the end of the day, and especially if you're dealing with a hardship and you've lost your job, like I said, at the end of the day, you want to be very careful what you sign under, because it will be on your credit report. All right. Does anybody have any questions about the importance of knowing, what you know before you actually sign up for bankruptcy? Now, here's the thing. You have to go through, even before you get a chapter 7, chapter 12, chapter 11, chapter 13, you still have to go through first credit counseling. You got to go through credit counseling first, and then towards the end of the duration of that procedure, you still got to go through credit counseling. All right. So you want to make sure that whatever you do, you can live with your decision, because it is catastrophic when you're trying to think that you're going to get major credit, and especially with people coming out of bankruptcy. I've seen bankruptcy come off. Can bankruptcy come off? Yes, it can. Can bankruptcy be removed from all 3 reports? Yes. If you call the courthouse, they're going to tell you, we don't put it on your credit report. They outsource it to a third party. One of those sources called Pacers. All right. That's another show. But at the end of the day, they're going to tell you it's a certain procedure that you have to do in order to remove the bankruptcy off your public record. So you have to be very careful when it comes down to filing bankruptcy. The reason why I chose this topic tonight, because there's a lot of people that are panicking and they're freaking out. And I understand your rent is due and your bills is due. Today is September the 1st. And I'm telling you, what's going on, Miss Hutchins? What's going on? So I know rent is due. I had to pay rent. I paid my rent on the 1st. So I understand if people are going through a hard time and it seems like there's no light at the end of the tunnel, but it is, and it will get better. It will get better. But you have to make sure and maintain, before you pay the bankruptcy. And pay the bankruptcy lawyer, I should say. And this is the thing, I see it all the time, that, when I get calls, they're either have already signed up for bankruptcy, paid a lot of money, and then they want to know, what can you do for me? Well, it's problematic until I see your credit report, is because if that bankruptcy is only a year old, 6 months old, 2 years old, you still have major issues, because the system still deems that bankruptcy, which the client don't feel, well, it's zeroed out. The first thing they're going to say is, it's been discharged. I know it's been discharged, and I'm glad it is discharged, because if it wasn't discharged, you would have a greater problem. But if it is been discharged, you are having a little bit better. It's like this. If you have a collection and it has a balance, that's real bad. If you have a collection and it has a zero balance, it's not as bad, but it's still bad. And so that's the difference between dismissed and not dismissed. All right. So at the end of the day, chapter 7 and chapter 13, you want to make sure that you hold your lawyers accountable and make sure that they explain to you that bankruptcy, you get to keep all the portions of your property with chapter 13. All right. Now, there are some stuff that is exempt, and then there's some other stuff that's not exempt. So I know people say, well, with my 13, I was able to keep this and I was able to keep that, but you still had to make some arrangements, or you had to pay some stuff off. And you cannot do this if you're trying to file for bankruptcy in the end of December or December 2020, and you think you're going to put it in your mama's name. The trustee, the court person, is going to go and find out and make sure that you don't have any assets, that you've either transferred the deeds or either you transferred money out of the bank account. They're going to look at all of that. And then what happens is that I've seen, in my career, that a lot of times if you have put the money in your cousin's name or your mama's name, then they can reverse that. They're going to reverse that, and they're going to require whoever you gave that money to pay it, or either you're going to pay it. All right. So you need to know your rights. What's going on, Johnson? You need to know, the rights before you sign up for bankruptcy. All right. Now I get asked this question all the time. It is very problematic because number one, this is what I want to say. On your credit report, if your credit report right now doesn't say 0 on your public record, you have some issues, whether it's a tax lien, whether it's a bankruptcy. If your public record, when you go to Credit Karma, when you go to Experian, I hope your public record says 0, but if it doesn't, then you need to make sure that you get in contact with me and my company so we can help you out and we can get to the bottom of what's going on. All right. You can always reach me at 786-213-1087. This is what you're going to need. So I always tell people either pay me now or pay me later, because even after the bankruptcy, you're free, but you still now have to rebuild. And so you got a lot of inquiries. Your inquiries are problematic, but not as big as that bankruptcy. That is my opinion. I have seen it over the years. I'll stand by that. Bankruptcy is not for everybody. Now, if you have a debt and that debt is $400,000, or that debt is $375,000, or that debt is $250,000, then maybe you need bankruptcy, but make sure you choose the right one with the legal counsel that can advise you in the right way. And stop thinking just because even if you don't go to my company, if you go to another credit repair company, that they're going to be able to wave a magic wand and zap that bankruptcy. Bankruptcy, inquiries, collections, medical bill, all of it is very aggressive, and it takes time. People do not like to hear that, but I guess I'm going to have to say it until the Lord rapture the church, because at the end of the day, they want a quick fix, and that's not what I do. I don't do quick fix. If you're hearing this show in the morning, good morning, but I don't do quick fix. There's not a quick fix. When I hear those social media advertisement, I can fix it in 30 days. I can fix it in 2 days. Nobody can give you a time frame. Now, I've seen great success in 30 days. I've seen stuff come off overnight, but that's not a cookie cutter method for everybody. All right. Does anybody have any questions about bankruptcy? I'm not a fan of it. I'm not against any attorneys, but I'm not a fan of it because I feel like if your car is problematic and you're upside down and you're going to wind up paying, the car was supposed to be $10,000, but now you're looking at $30,000 and the car is breaking down. It's a lemon. And now you feel like you're stuck, then maybe, I've been there, done that. Maybe it is best to turn it in. Yes, it's going to go on your credit report, but we can work and we can deal with the creditor and see, can we get that off? And it'll be beneficial to you. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, even with bad credit, you can get a car. You're just going to have to come up with some drenchma. You're going to have to come up with some do-re-mi, some cheddar. You're going to have to come up with some money. And most time, even with bankruptcies, when you hear those advertisements at the car lots, they will do repos or whatever the case may be. They still want you to come up with a significant amount of money. All right. So bankruptcy, chapter 7, chapter 13 is the most common ones. But there is chapter 7, there's chapter 11, there's chapter 12, and there's chapter 13. All right. So there's all kinds of bankruptcies and there's all kinds of different procedures, the way they're handled. So you want to make sure that you get in contact with that attorney if you decide. Now, I'm a fan of working it out yourself, trying to see if you can negotiate. And that's the key. That's one of my notes tonight. Negotiation. What's going on, Mr. Hunter? What's going on? You got to negotiate. Negotiation is going to save your life. Negotiation is going to save your life. It's going to help you. It's actually going to be beneficial to you. It's really going to do something that is never been done in your family's life, and especially when you're talking about bankruptcy and getting your family to a place where you can be self-sufficient, needing no aid. And I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of times people don't like to talk about credit. They don't like to talk about finances unless it's coming from somebody, that they like, or somebody that they feel like, they can relate to. If you can't relate to me, I understand. What you do is find somebody that you can relate to, but the truth is still going to be the truth. Bankruptcy is problematic. It just because it's been discharged does not mean that you're out of hot water. All right. If you have student loans, you can make arrangements and negotiate. If you have cars that are upside down, you can negotiate. And if you have credit cards, yes, most of the time I'm telling you, they're going to want to close. They're going to drop your limit anyway, especially if your scores are fluctuating. You got a bunch of late payments and, you know, they're still calculating those scores. It's going to fluctuate and drop anyway. All right. Does anybody have any questions? I'm going to take a quick commercial and I'll be right back. Thank you so much, Instagram. If you're live with us on YouTube, you know, join me on YouTube. I'm really easy to find on YouTube, Exceptional Credit Repair LLC. And I'll be right back after this commercial. It's going to be monumental when you make the right decision. You don't want to make that decision and sign up for bankruptcy when you really didn't have. Well, I'm back. Now we're talking about, do you really need bankruptcy? So hopefully this has helped somebody before you decide, well, I'm going to take a stab at bankruptcy. You need to know. What's up, Mr. Fletcher? You need to know all the facts. You need to know that, hey, it's something that is going to really benefit you if you have the right information. If you have the wrong information, then it's not going to be beneficial to you. All right. Your public record, in my case, about credit restoration, in my case, is problematic because on that public record, that bankruptcy is going to be there. And watch this. And so when somebody says to me, well, I don't think it's going to be a big deal. If a bankruptcy is on your public record and your score was 605, I promise you, if that bankruptcy is removed, it's going to jump you up 40 or 50 points. I promise you. It's because the system right there, it tells you that the system was deeming or they was considering that particular account as negative or bad, adverse, even though it's been discharged and it's zero. Zero is a whole lot better than balances or something that carries a whole lot of debt. All right. So it is much better. But I need you to understand chapter 7 or chapter 13. I'm still not a fan of either one. All right. Does anybody have any questions? Also, let me see. Negotiation is better than bankruptcy. I'm a witness. Absolutely. Thank you for that, Ms. Powell. Negotiation is the key. So number one, negotiate. You want to negotiate. So sometimes you might not even have to have a debt consolidation, because majority of what the debt consolidator is going to do and some of the same thing that I do with my certified letters and on the phone. A lot of times I do have to talk to the creditors on the behalf and the consent of my customer. And then with a debt consolidation, they will forgive you a lot of times. And sometimes they're going to play hardball. And so sometimes if it does go to collection or go to portfolio recovery or enhanced recovery or CIS or CI recovery or all of those different collection agencies, you cannot ignore those letters. When those collection letters come in the mail, don't just rip them up and throw them in the trash. You need to pay attention and respond to those letters. That's why I talk about my book. I don't talk about the book because I make millions of dollars. One day, hopefully I will, but I don't talk about the book. The book is a tool to give you all the information, the quick numbers, the quick addresses that you need, because trying to get that bankruptcy off is a certain procedures. Sometimes you have to send dispute letters to the actual court system in the place in the county that you originally, signed up for the bankruptcy. All right, that they processed your bankruptcy. So you do want to negotiate, and you do want to have all your ducks in a row. And this is a major thing, and I'm getting ready to leave you, but you want to make sure that you have done the very best you can before you sign up for bankruptcy, because some people, it stays up until 10 years. Sometimes they can get it off in 3 years or 5 years. I've had people say, well, what can you do for me? And I'm saying, you got to have some time. If you're just trying to refinance, if you're trying to buy a house, sometimes it can be problematic when you're trying to buy a house, when you're trying to get other assets. And let me say this, some people feel like, well, you know what, I got me some secured cars and I was rebuilding. I applaud that. But I really have rarely seen anybody get 5,000 in the actual cash. I'm talking about Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover. So you can stop telling that lie as far as I rebuild and I was able to get me some credit cards. Well, tell them the amount of the credit cards. So stop thinking, when you come out of bankruptcy, because everything is zeroed out, that they automatically going to give you 5,000. They automatically going to give you $1,000. Sometimes it's hell to pay because they still look at that as adverse, negative. All of that stuff means the same thing. It's negative. All right. So you want to negotiate. Anybody have any questions about, making sure that you really get the informed information, get the right information before you sign up for bankruptcy? Because when you get to it, I don't care whether it's my company or whether it's whomever company, you got to make sure that you have all the facts. All right. Does anybody have any questions about credit restoration? If you've been through bankruptcy or was thinking about bankruptcy or didn't even give it a thought, but you was trying to figure out, how can I get a new car? How can I get out of this house? Same thing with the house. Let's just say you owe more on the house than you paid on the house. And so at the end of the day, and you feel like, okay, well, I don't like this house no more, and I'm upside down and I still owe a whole lot. And you feel like, okay, the house is $175,000. How can I get rid of this? And I just lost my job, so I'm gonna put everything in bankruptcy. But they're gonna look at your income. They're gonna make sure that if you have enough money to pay it, they're not gonna exempt that. So if the credit card was $2,000 and you're making $90,000 still, and you want to do bankruptcy, the judge is going to look like, we can't exempt this because you can actually go and pay that debt. And especially when they look at your luxury items you can't file for bankruptcy and you just went and bought a fur coat. The judge ain't going for that. You can't file for bankruptcy and you just went and bought some David Yurman jewelry. The judge is not going for that. You can't file for bankruptcy and then turn around and you want a brand new Lexus. That's ridiculous. It's not going to happen. And then, like I said earlier, trying to shift it in somebody else's name to keep those assets, you can get yourself or that individual in trouble. All right. So you want to do all you can to negotiate and make sure that bankruptcy is the right road, the right choice for you. All right. So I'm going to take a quick commercial and I'll be back with my last recommendations and accommodations and all of that good stuff. So I'll be right back. Well, I'm back. Listen, with my closing remarks, I want to let you know that bankruptcy is feasible for some people, not for all people, but you want to make the right decision. Now, my name is Casacello James. I'm the CEO and I'm the owner of Exceptional Credit Repair, LLC. And if you do need credit restoration, now what is credit restoration? That is the removal of any negative items or any adverse items that's on your credit report. Not only do I remove negative items and my staff, we remove negative items off the credit report, But I also, watch this, help you build credit. All right. So that's a process within itself. Some people's process and some people's progress is a lot quicker than others, but you don't want to base your particular progress or your performance on your neighbors. All right. That's not wise to do. So you want to run at your own pace and you want to run at your own speed, and you want to make sure that you are the one that are making the right informed decisions. All right. Especially if you're getting ready to buy a house, and if you're getting ready to buy a car, and you're kind of leery about, even if you have a car and you want a second car or need a second car, and you're upside down in that car, and that happens many times. You want to make sure that you get in contact with that credit expert and that credit advisor so we can pull your credit. You can go, as I said on the previous show, to myfico.com. It'll give you your auto scores, it'll give you your mortgage scores, it'll give you your credit card scores. All right. And it will be just wonderful. All right, Mr. Hamilton, what's going on with you? Everyone needs your book. Oh, wonderful. That's a good endorsement. Thank you so much. Yes, if you have not got the book, it is on Amazon.com. It is going to be very beneficial to you. Once you read the book, and the book is just everything anyway, so you definitely want to get the book. All right, it's on Amazon.com. Teach me how to fix my credit. So I'm very proud of the book because I wrote it, to help the people. So it is one of those things that, I really love that. So thank you so much, Deshaun, for that. Everyone needs that book. It would really help you. Now, does anybody, before I get out of here, have any credit questions? You don't understand what's going on with your TransUnion. You don't understand what's going on with your Experian. You don't understand what's going on with your Equifax. All right. Does anybody have any credit question? If not, I'm going to jet out of here, and I'll be back next Tuesday. I might sneak back on. You never know when. So at the end of the day, be very careful before you sign up for bankruptcy, and do not believe that particular false statement that it is not going to hurt your credit report. Even if you get it zeroed out and discharged, it will be problematic on your credit report. So be very careful before you let anybody talk you into getting bankruptcy. The book, even in the book, I talk about bankruptcy as well. I hit that as well too. All right. It helped me get approval for my house. All right, Mr. Hamilton, congratulations. Y'all tell Mr. Hamilton congratulations. All right. And I want you to send me some pictures, and send me, let me know. I know you can't show everything, but let me know when you get the house. I'll be glad to put it on the show. All right. Thank you all for supporting the show. And again, if you want to sponsor the show, you definitely can do that. You definitely can sponsor the show. You can get in contact with me, and you can sponsor the show at any given time. You can reach me at my email address, which is ecrepairnow@gmail.com, or you can contact me on my business line, 786-213-1087. All right. You can always get me email, or you can phone. And I'm actually getting ready to take some live phone calls upcoming, shortly. I got some new stuff that's going to pop off in September. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I think that's Ego Network, Ego Network TV. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. All right. Yes. Congratulations. Yes. We wish you well. Congratulations. That's right. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Absolutely. And so I do the show, and I want to say this, I do the show to get this vital information out. It's going to help some people, and some people are just going to be apple heads, and they're going to be nasty, and they're going to be mean. And I guess I'll close like this. A lot of times, get around, that's the thing that I was thinking about earlier today. Get around those people, behold how good, that's what it talks about in the good book, the Bible. Behold how good and pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Get around those people that's going to uplift you, because there'll be some days that you feel discouraged, and, going through bankruptcy, I've seen it. with my clients, it's mind boggling. And, they're already suffering. And then when you have to go through the court procedure is another dilemma within itself. But when you're behind on your bills and your car payment is due and you can't pay for any of the things that, you was paying for, but the creditors don't take all of that in consideration. They want their money and look like the first of the month comes very quickly. But get around those people that's going to undergird you, uplift you, people that's going to speak positive in your life, no more negative people. Just like that young man, Chadwick, the Black Panther guy. A lot of people, I didn't even realize that there was, people were saying all kinds of nasty things to him just because he looked a certain way. He was losing weight and they didn't know that he had cancer. And so I've learned, and I'm a tough cookie because, you throw a tomato at me, my natural reaction is to throw it back at you. But at the end of the day, that young man didn't say a word. He was the epitome of class and dignity. And that's what I'm going to do tonight. I'm not going to say anything. If people don't enjoy this type of information, it just wasn't for them. But the people that enjoyed this type of information, just like this young man, by reading the book, he was able to purchase a home. Those are in his home, his own words. And so that's amazing. That's phenomenal. That's amazing. If I was on the Oprah show, if I was a guest on the late night talk show, that is very monumental. And it's a home run, for him and, his family. So at the end of the day, we have helped a whole lot of people concerning, credit restoration and other financial matters, because I do business credit as well as personal credit. All right. Let me see what he also is saying. He said, I'm adopting you as my business mentor. All right, I'll take it, Mr. J. I also can't say how much I appreciate your patience with all my questions. No, not. It's my pleasure. My pleasure. All right. So that is a wonderful compliment. I appreciate this. This is E. Carter. I'm sending some people to. All right. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. I'm going to take good care of them. I promise you I will. All right. And anybody that knows me, know before I do you wrong, I'll let you go. I promise you, my word means everything to me. As you can hear, I sound like I'm 100 years old. I'm old school for real. So I promise you, before I do you wrong, I promise you, I'll let it go. All right. I'm one of those things and one of those people, that believe in standing by your word. All right. Thank you for you. You welcome. You welcome. You welcome, Miss Hutchison. We're going to talk soon. All right. I appreciate that. Bankruptcy is just not for everybody. And, I had a young lady, we kind of, not so much going back and forth, but I had to answer her questions, or her statements, I should say, kind of strongly, because just because it is dismissed or discharged, all right, or it says 0, doesn't mean that the system boop, 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 is not calculating that every month with your credit report. And most people don't even understand how your credit, your 3-digit score, personal credit, guess what? You get a 3-digit number. All right. But in business credit, you get a 2-digit number. All right. But most of them are not even understanding how they get that 2-digit number. All right. All right. Now you better say it, Sheila. You better say it. Hey, come on here. All right. I promise you, I'm a man of my word. I promise you that. All right. And so yes, he will. All right. You better say it. That's my sister right there, Debbie McCray. That's my sister right there. You gotta say it. I promise you, whatever I say, I'm gonna back it up. I promise you that. I'll go to my grave believing it. So credit restoration will work for you. In other words, it's just like Dottie. You remember that song, Dottie? People say, "Get your house in order." Oh, do it today. Get your house in order. Do it right away. All right. That's old Dottie Peoples. Get your house in order. You got to get everything in order. All right. I thought I'd take y'all there just a minute right there, because I know I got some help on the line. All right. I appreciate it. Come on, Shasta. That's it. Listen, and the proof is in the pudding. You know, some people can say I can do this. You know how some people say, well, I can make a macaroni and cheese, or I can fry the chicken and it's still bloody and it don't taste good. At the end of the day, the proof is in the pudding. So you will know that businessman or that businesswoman that know that, thank you. You'll know that person that knows what they're talking about. All right. You want to make sure that you make that informed decision. All right. Until next Tuesday night at 9 p.m., I got some new stuff that we're going to be displaying. If you are, my last announcement, if you are in Atlanta, Georgia, and you need a haircut, you need a hairdo, you're looking for a great master stylist, well, look no further. You are welcome at Casa Celo's Creation Barber and Salon. Not only do we do men's hair, I do women's hair. If you got some money, I don't care if you don't have no hair. Men, I can put you some units up there. Women, I can put you some units up there. All right, so come and check me out at my new barber salon. It's amazing. It's beautiful. I'm going to be doing some shows from there as well. All right, so at the end of the day, you all be blessed. I'm going to go out with a commercial. And until next Tuesday night at 9 p.m., be blessed.